strong for your children. But it's all right. We'll take the weather now and, of course, the news updates. Stay with us.
It's about time for us to take the news update right here on Wake Up Nigeria. We begin with security in Nasarawa State, where unknown gunmen have killed the former education secretary of Nasarawa local government area of the state, Malami Saliu, and kidnapped 20 people who were traveling to Toto local government area of the state. The incident took place along Mungi Sharp Corner, Buga Gwari, Gada Buke area of Toto local government area. The Secretary of Gada Buke Emirate Council, Abdullahi Baba, confirms that the gunmen in their numbers came out of the bush and attacked the vehicles plying the road and marched passengers back into the bush to an unknown destination. He said the former education secretary was also traveling alongside his friend in a private vehicle, also taken away with others, but his dead body was later found in a nearby bush. The Chief of Air Staff, Sadiq Abubakar, says more training is needed for the Nigerian Air Force personnel in using C-130 aircraft, which is needed to airdrop food items for citizens in the Northeast. He noted that the substantial progress has been made in acquiring the Super Tucano aircraft and also in the training of Nigerian Air Force personnel in the United States. He made his statement while receiving the Secretary of the United States Air Force, Barbara Barrett. On her part, Barbara Barrett assured the Chief of Air Staff that the United States Air Force would provide support to Nigeria when needed.
Says to us, aeromedical training is another area. We are trying to see how we can win the hearts and minds of those who are fighting in their communities, so that they appreciate us, that we are not just there for bullets and bombs, and so we are there to also give them support and make sure that they can have access to our facilities. We already have 2 level 2 hospitals that have been operating to IDPs, and we from time to time invite them to come in.
A Chief Magistrate Court in Abuja has adjourned until January 8th, 2021 for ruling on the bail application filed by Omoyele Showreel and 4 others for standing trial for alleged criminal conspiracy, unlawful assembly and public disturbance. Chief Magistrate Mabel Shegun-Bello filed the date after listening to the application for bail moved by counsel to the defendants, Marshal Abubakar, and the opposition by the prosecutor. The court ordered the defendants to be remanded at the Air Force CID Facility Area 10 following complaints by Mr. Showreel that they were denied food and medical attention at the Kuje Correctional Center. Chief Magistrate also ordered the police to provide the third defendant, Damilare Adenola, who is a law student of the University of Abuja, with internet facilities and writing materials to enable join his classmates who resumed online classes for 5th of January.
We have no business going back to a police that has no credibility, a police that engages in torture, a police that have no respect for human rights. That is not where we should have been. But the judge had to do what she had to do. Who are assailed by these very fraudulent charges of unlawful assembly, as if we are still under colonial rule.
Well, we objected to that order because we don't have the facility. We don't have an adequate facility to keep the defendant in our custody. We don't have that facility. We objected, but the court overruled us.
And that's all we have time for on the news update for Wake Up Nigeria. It's time for sports. Mary is standing by.
Thank you.
Welcome back. It's about time for us to take a quick look at what's happening in the headlines in the dailies. We're starting with the Guardian newspaper this morning, and it says here, questions as Nigeria awaits COVID-19 vaccines. It says here the NCDC, MPH-CDA reaffirms safety of vaccines, capacity to store and transport. Frontline health workers, elderly may take vaccines first. Professor Shofola foresees challenges in storage. Just beneath the masthead there, it says Niger Delta militants threatened renewed hostilities. You must account for alleged 15 trillion naira loot, PDP tells APC leaders. Federal government dragged to UN over alleged torture, detention of Showreel and others. Kidnappers abduct pastor. 3 others kill hunter in Delta State. That's what we have on the cover of The Guardian. We have the Nigerian Tribune here as well. It says here electricity rates adjusted by 2 naira to 4 naira per kilowatt per hour. And it says, NERC says that here. LCCI say pricing should be strategic. Meanwhile, PDP says hike insensitive, anti-people. Moving to the top of the page there, Ibadan Mogaji's Amotekun boss parley over crimes in Oyo. Another farmer kidnapped as well. Page 26 and 27 have more on that. And SARS, Lagos pays for forensic examination of Lekki tollgate. 2021 budget, oil prices hit $53 per barrel as OPEC freezes production. And more political influence in our business decisions, say Intels. And I'll wrap it with this. It says, how my only child was killed by police, woman tells Ekiti panel. That's what we have on the cover of the Nigerian Tribune. We have the Punch here as well. It says TUC threatens showdown as NERC denies 50% hike, blames inflation. It's betrayal. Federal government bringing out policies meant to cripple economy, says Congress. Increase between 2 naira and 4 naira, reflecting impact of inflation and forex, say Commission. Poor investments, low revenues, others threaten Nigeria's 2021 growth, say World Bank. And foreigners without COVID-19 certificate will lose visas, say the NIS. Let's see what else we have here. Yes, Lagos deploys 1,250 constabulary officers to boost community policing. More on that on page 6. And I'll wrap it with this one. It says, man, lover arrested over theft of wife's 3-month-old baby in Ondo. That's what we have on the cover of The Punch. And that's all we have time for at this point on the headlines in the dailies right here on Wake Up Nigeria. We have quite a few things still coming up. Daily Vulnerables coming up next.
That was simple.
Yeah.
Know what works best for you.
So a salesman has one of the most impossible jobs, getting another human being to bring out money to make a purchase. And of course, that can be extremely difficult. Joining us to talk about being, or rather becoming a better salesman and positioning ourselves and our businesses better is George Emetuche. He is the Chief Executive Salesman at the Selling Champion Consulting Limited and a member of the National Institute of Marketing of Nigeria. He's an authority in sales, marketing, and customer service. You're very welcome. I saw a quote in one of your books. It says here that a con man and a salesman are the same except for integrity. Now, I find that to be very powerful, right? But based on that quote, who exactly is a salesman?
A salesman, what I promote, what I believe in, a salesman is a value provider.
Okay.
A salesman is a solution provider. Okay. A salesman is that person that fills a gap.
Yeah.
He gives value. He solves a problem. He brings solution to where the need, where there is need, and he fills that gap. That is a salesman. And just about the quote you talked about, the salesman and the con man are the same, except for integrity. Everybody is selling something. The con man is selling something. He has his own presentations too. Okay. He has his own services. He has his own. But there's something. What he's selling at the end product of what he's selling is deceit.
Okay.
I don't know if you've received that call and say, the idea, do you still work with TVC? Oh, I have a supply.
Yeah.
Those ones are con men.
Okay.
They will not deliver.
But then a salesman is the one that will call.
is the one He wants to sell to you today. He wants to sell tomorrow. He wants to start up a wonderful relationship because he wants you to be there all the time. Because without you, he will fail.
Okay, so what's the difference between sales and marketing?
Even among professionals, they don't get this. Sales is the end product of marketing.
Okay.
Marketing is broad.
Okay.
Are you looking at advertising? Are you looking at branding? Are you looking at sales? Are you looking at... So marketing is so broad. Marketing, you talk about promotion, you talk about... But sales is the end product.
Okay.
When sales push, marketing pulls.
Okay.
So sales is when you close the deal.
Okay.
You write an invoice. That is sales. But marketing is the process that build up all this. You leave something in the mind of the prospect or customer. That is, you're talking about marketing.
Okay, so you can't exactly call a salesman a marketer, can you?
Yes, you can.
Okay.
You can, because selling is marketing. Marketing is selling.
Wow.
So you...
The parent's individuality usually informs their parenting style. Now, Adeton is a parenting expert, and she's here to talk about the different parenting styles that there are. Now, which is best for different kids based on their personality? It's a big question, parenting styles. Welcome back to the studio.
Titi, I would have loved for us to kick off this topic, but I'm seeing fried smoked fish.
Okay.
So I'm tempted with my
Don't worry.
my Ijebu Gari.
We'll
So
keep
please
some.
make available Ijebu Gari.
We'll keep some, don't
Okay,
worry.
so now I can flow now, because when I see things like that, it just dissuades me. Okay, basically, yeah. Let me ask you first. You have different types of patterns of parenting style, and then I have my own way. Which do you practice?
Okay, so I feel like I'm authoritative. So I know that there are different types, but I've done my research. So I give my kids the chance to make mistakes, and then I correct them, and then I explain the reason why I'm correcting them. So that's my style of parenting. But it doesn't work for everybody. So a lot of people feel they don't have to explain anything to a child. Child should just do it.
No, basically, yes, you're right. A lot of people feel it's not necessary for them to carry their children along. But if you're scolding a child, you have to let that child know the reason why you're scolding the child. You put your rules down, you state them clearly. But at the same time, you have to understand that this is a collaboration thing. If you say you want it done this way, your child has to know the reasons why you want it done this way, the negative impact and the positive impact of why it should be done that way. So for me, I've looked at the various parenting styles, and I feel maybe because of our society, and then the way we're going this right now, the authoritative pattern is better, because children are beginning to understand more. Children are beginning to become a little bit more inquisitive. You tell them to do things, they want to ask you, Mommy, why do you want me to do this? So if you have your laid down rules, this is what I want, this is the way I want it done, and they violate those rules, you still have to come back to the fact that, oh, these children are smart. So we'll now talk about it. Okay, why didn't you do it? Why did you do it? You have to give them room and then carry them along in line of all these things.
Okay, but for those that don't know the other styles, or that they're even practicing these other styles, can we break down what those styles
negligently, a lot of people, a lot of mothers, a lot of parents practice the permissive style. And this is because of sentiments.
Okay.
You see somebody who says, I haven't had a child in 15 years, in 20 years, and once this child comes, this child becomes a goddess. They don't want to do anything to offend this child. I was traveling some time ago, and I was scolding a little girl and my friend's daughter, and she was like, no, she's not going to talk to you again. She won't play with you. And I'm like, are you? Come on. Sleep off. Whose business is that if she doesn't want to talk to me at 2 years plus? She doesn't want to talk to me. So they would rather be their children's friend than be their children's parents. And for me, at this age, this is not the time for you to say you want to be your child's friend. You would rather be your child's parent. Teach that child the way that child will not go out to disgrace you. Because when you have children who have permissive training, they go out and people begin to identify their flaws. Like, your child could not even greet me. Your child was so carried away with his games. Don't mind them. These children of these days, they are so addicted to games. Oh, really? Then your child now goes out and becomes so different in the midst of children who are well trained.
Okay.
So a lot of Nigerian parents practice that. So what we have to adjust in that line is No matter how long it took you to have a child, no matter how much you love a child, discipline is more important in a child's life at this stage when they're growing than being friends.
Okay, so now if we go to the disciplined style of parenting, that's the authoritarian style.
Gandoki style.
Yes.
Or yes, sir.
Yes.
The children can't
Military
even look
style.
into their father's face. The fear is there. These children, like, you tell them, go to bed. That child will even oversleep because he doesn't know the fear of what is going to happen next. He doesn't want to know. He doesn't want the father to unleash. And these children fall into the society at the end of the day, and they are so withdrawn. They can't relate easily. And these things also affect them psychologically, and it affects them academically.
Topic on bullying, especially with regards to preventative strategies. And Taiwo Akilami is back with us to focus on the role of parents in preventing bullying. Well, thank you so much for coming back to the studio.
Thank you so much for having me. It's been a great
I
pleasure
would
to be here.
love to differentiate between the bully and the bullied.
Well, I think I should begin by saying that bullies are not born.
Okay.
Bullies are not born, they are made.
Okay.
Even children, there are children that are said to be children with challenging behaviors. Talking to experts, we found that those children come from homes, violent homes,
Okay.
where spouses have turned the home into a boxing ring. And so the number one thing is that children are socialized according to the dominant examples that they see. So if somebody has a psychology of a bully, which means I must achieve things by force, I believe that what makes me strong is the ability to exert my energy in the wrong direction, to force people to get things done, to insist on my ways, to refuse to negotiate, because the opposite, the alternative to bullying is a lot of times bullying is a result of trying to get your way. Bullying is as a result of trying to get attention. All of these things, you can get attention without being violent when you deserve it. So if you want to get attention without being violent, you do things that will call attention to you positively. You can get things done without being violent. So all of these things are things that children learn from home. For example, the way we deal with children. Let me give you an example. So let me say this. Someone says a child hits a child, you say the child is violent. A man hits a woman, you say the man is violent. A woman hits a man, you say the woman is unruly. But when an adult hits a child, you call it discipline. And so when you hit a child that way consistently, the child begins to feel that the way to solve problem is to hit other people. So and again, when we don't also teach our children that this is a mean world, very mean world, you don't need to do anything wrong for somebody want to harm you. You may just be yourself, and someone is coming your way to harm you. So
Okay, can I take you from there? So this issue of it being a mean world, the realities of life.
yes.
I feel like we might be taking away the innocence of the child in order to protect the child. Is this what you're suggesting?
No, this is it. If we tell a child that car that you are looking at, if it's coming and you don't step aside, it could hit you.
Okay.
We are not destroying the innocence of the child.
Okay.
Now, it depends on how we pass message across to children. Now, we tell children about sexuality, their sexuality. We're expected to start telling them from when they're 18 months. We are not destroying their innocence. We are just telling them to say, this is your sexuality, this is your body part and all of that. The same way young people need to understand that in life is not a bed of roses. To understand that people will come at you whether you are the best person or you are the worst person. Now
I'm so sorry. I want to take you to an example from my end.
Okay.
I have twin girls. They're 5 years old.
Yeah.
If one of them comes to tell me another child is bullying them in school, what should my response be to that child?
The first thing is to let the children understand that you are not weak.
Okay.
You are not a victim. You are not the problem, no matter what you've done. Particularly when you don't initiate bullying. A lot of times bullying happens because the other person who is bullying is trying to retaliate, or somebody teases a child and the child feels that you have teased me, which is that one is emotional bullying. Bullying is not only when we go physical. Bullying can be emotional, it can be cyber, it can be, there's also what we call pack bullying. That is when people coming together
To gang up
against a person.
Odu Fadiri back with us in the studio for another conversation. Now, this one is geared towards making the best of our union with our partners. Now, there are certain issues in marriage that may begin to lead people into a depression or indeed frustration. And to avoid this, she's going to be talking to us about how best to deal with those issues. Welcome, Sandra.
Thank you so much.
All right, so this issue of frustration and depression, it feels like somehow they go hand in hand. How do we best figure out that we're frustrated?
Okay.
So a lot of people, I feel, are in denial of these issues.
Well, like I always say, marriage is true life story. Relationship is friction.
Okay.
When you're dating this guy, he's trying to be very nice, doing his best, trying to please you. Then after marriage, he comes up with his real character. Studies have shown it that 95% of men show up their character immediately after marriage.
Now,
the remaining
5%
show off their character after childbearing.
Wow.
Yes. And
okay, so these are actual statistics.
Yes, I did a course on relationship, and I went to the field, and this was what I got.
After marriage, 95% show their true colors.
Their true colors.
Then
5% of the 95%, like 5%, show it after childbearing. And don't forget, you can't change anybody. So what you know you cannot, I don't pretend. I don't pretend in my marriage, right from when we started cutting. I tell you, right from when I got married, what I couldn't take. I don't fake it. I tell you, I can't take it. Not only my husband, my in-laws, my friends, my husband's friends, the things I couldn't take, I started it from the onset. It wasn't easy for me. I had a lot of challenges, but now everybody has accepted me for who I am. If I am going through, if you hurt me, I call you and I say it and I move on.
Okay, so now there must be some different factors that lead to this frustration.
Yeah.
Okay, so for instance, you said some things you can't take if you hold back and you don't mention it. I guess that should be one of the factors that lead to,
frustration. Yeah.
But then what other factors